Axum, the Red Sea Empire and the trade of frankincense, uncovers the remarkable history of the Axumite Empire, a powerful African civilization that thrived between the 4th and 7th centuries. Long before the age of European dominance over global trade, the Kingdom of Axum controlled the vital maritime routes of the Red Sea, linking Africa to the Arabian Peninsula, India, and beyond. Known for its thriving trade of frankincense and other precious commodities, Axum was a center of commerce and culture. Through this story, we dive into how this empire became a dominant force in the ancient world and explore the long-lasting legacy it left behind. In an era long before European explorers dominated the seas, the Kingdom of Axum, situated in present-day Ethiopia, ruled the waves of the Red Sea and beyond, trading goods like frankincense, myrrh, and gold with kingdoms across Arabia, India, and even Rome. This script delves deep into Axum's rise to power, its unparalleled maritime prowess, and the profound influence it exerted on global trade. It explores the astonishing journey of how this African empire commanded the trade of precious goods like frankincense and the role it played in shaping the ancient world's commerce and culture. Discover the fascinating story of a forgotten empire, the merchants who sailed its waters, and the extraordinary trade that linked continents long before the age of European dominance. The sun glows above the vast stretch of the Red Sea, casting golden light on the calm waters that have borne witness to centuries of history. Long before Europe's navies ruled the oceans, an African empire, Axum, controlled the waters between Arabia and India. This was no mere coastal kingdom. Axum was a maritime powerhouse whose trade routes and naval strength stretched across the Red Sea, connecting distant continents. The Kingdom of Axum, located in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, was one of the most influential empires in the ancient world. Despite its relative obscurity in popular history, the Axumites controlled the flow of valuable commodities like frankincense, gold, and ivory between the continents, making them critical players in the global trade network. This empire bridged the cultures of Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia, forging connections that spanned vast distances long before the age of exploration. Axum's rise to power was not just a story of military conquest or political savvy, but also of ingenuity and strategic positioning. With control over key ports and the vital trade routes, the Axumites became essential in the exchange of goods and ideas, influencing distant civilizations such as the Romans and the Maurya Empire of India. But what was it that allowed Axum to thrive so powerfully in the ancient world? And how did it command a maritime empire where the vast waves of the Red Sea carried more than just goods? They carried ideas, wealth, and power. The Kingdom of Axum began as a small, localized state centered around the highlands of Ethiopia. However, by the 4th century CE, it had expanded dramatically, establishing itself as an empire with far-reaching influence. It owed much of its success to its strategic location at the crossroads of Africa and Asia, with access to vital trade routes connecting the Mediterranean, Arabian Peninsula, and the Indian Ocean. The most significant factor behind Axum's rise was its control over the Red Sea, a lifeline for trade between the Roman Empire, India, and the Arabian Peninsula. By establishing a network of ports along the Red Sea coast, most notably Adulis, Axum became a central hub in the trade of luxury goods like frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Additionally, Axum's military and technological prowess contributed to its dominance. The Axumites built sophisticated warships and merchant vessels, which allowed them to control the sea routes with ease. Their navy was unparalleled in the region, capable of defending against piracy and ensuring that the empire's trade routes remained open and secure. Axum's success was not only due to military might, but also its diplomatic acumen. Axum forged alliances with other powerful civilizations, including Rome and Persia. This cooperation allowed them to thrive in the highly competitive environment of ancient maritime trade. The relationship between Axum and the Roman Empire was particularly beneficial, as it provided Axum with access to valuable Roman markets, allowing their merchants to sell goods far and wide. The rise of King Ezana in the 4th century marked the apex of Axum's power. Under his reign, Axum converted to Christianity, further solidifying its ties with the Roman Empire. The introduction of Christianity also marked a cultural and religious shift, which influenced Axumite art, architecture, and diplomacy. Among the commodities that made Axum wealthy, frankincense stood out as one of the most prized. It was not only a luxury good, but also had deep religious significance. Used in religious rituals, including those of the Romans and various Arabian tribes, frankincense was highly sought after. Its aromatic resin was burned as incense, symbolizing divine presence and purity. In this context, Axum's role in the trade of frankincense made it a vital link between East Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and the rest of the ancient world. Axum controlled the trade routes that supplied frankincense from the southern Arabian Peninsula, which was then transported through the Red Sea to Mediterranean markets. The region's monopoly on frankincense ensured its prosperity. The fragrance of frankincense was considered divine, its scarcity enhancing its value. But how did Axum come to dominate this trade? The answer lies in its geographical location. Axum sat at the intersection of the trade routes from Arabia, India, and Africa. It had direct access to the Red Sea, where it could ferry goods quickly and efficiently. Adulis, Axum's principal port, became a bustling marketplace for goods like frankincense, myrrh, gold, and ivory. Through this port, goods from all over the known world flowed into the empire, transforming it into a key player in the global economy. The control over frankincense trade allowed Axum to become a regional superpower. Merchants from as far as Rome and India came to trade for these highly coveted goods, establishing Axum as one of the wealthiest empires of the ancient world. The empire's thriving economy, bolstered by the frankincense trade, laid the foundation for its political and military might. Axum's strategic location along the Red Sea made it not just a center of trade, but a melting pot of cultures. Its ports attracted merchants, travelers, and settlers from various regions, including Arabia, India, Persia, and beyond. The bustling port city of Adulis, Axum's main maritime hub, became one of the most cosmopolitan cities of the ancient world. Here, merchants traded not just goods, but ideas, technologies, and cultures. At its peak, Axum's maritime trade network spanned vast regions from the Mediterranean in the north to the Arabian Peninsula and India in the east. The city was a crossroads for a variety of cultures, and this mix of influences is evident in Axumite art, architecture, and religion. The Axumites adopted many practices from the Roman Empire, such as coinage, architecture, and Christianity, which became central to their identity. Trade in Axum was not just limited to luxury goods like frankincense. The empire also dealt in spices, ivory, animal skins, and textiles, all of which contributed to its thriving economy. In exchange for these goods, Axumites imported products from India, including silks and spices, and from Rome, such as glassware and wine. The maritime trade network also helped to spread Axumite culture and ideas to distant lands. In India, for instance, Axumite merchants introduced new technologies in shipbuilding and navigation, enhancing maritime trade across the Indian Ocean. Meanwhile, the presence of Axumite goods in Roman markets contributed to the wider recognition of Axum as an economic power. A key component of Axum's dominance was its formidable navy. Axum's ability to control the Red Sea and its trade routes was due in large part to its superior naval capabilities. The Axumite navy was a well-organized force, equipped with large merchant vessels and warships capable of navigating the treacherous waters of the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. Axum's ships were designed for both trade and combat. These vessels allowed Axumite merchants to transport goods over vast distances from the Horn of Africa to the Arabian Peninsula and beyond. The navy also served as a defense against pirates and rival kingdoms, ensuring that Axum's trade routes remained secure. The Axumite navy's ability to patrol the coastlines of Africa and Arabia helped maintain peace and stability in the region, which in turn fostered the growth of trade. Axum's ships were able to fend off threats from external enemies and protect the empire's commercial interests, making it one of the most secure and prosperous empires of its time. In addition to protecting its own interests, the Axumite navy played a crucial role in promoting trade between Africa, the Middle East, and India. By establishing a network of naval routes, Axum ensured the flow of goods and resources, making it an essential hub in the ancient world's maritime economy. The decline of the Axumite Empire was gradual and multifaceted. By the 7th century, several factors contributed to its weakening and eventual fall. One major factor was the rise of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula, which shifted trade routes away from the Red Sea and towards the Persian Gulf. The rise of Islam also brought about a change in the balance of power in the region, with new powers emerging that challenged Axum's dominance. Another contributing factor to Axum's decline was the internal challenges faced by the empire. Over time, Axum struggled with political instability, internal conflicts, and economic difficulties. The changing climate and the increasing competition from other rising empires such as the Arab Caliphates and the Byzantine Empire weakened Axum's control over its trade routes. By the 8th century, the once mighty empire had effectively fallen, and much of its glory faded into history. However, remnants of its legacy, such as its obelisks and inscriptions, remain as a testament to the power and influence Axum once commanded. Despite its decline, the legacy of Axum endures to this day. Its influence is still visible in the Horn of Africa, where the architectural and cultural practices of the Axumites left a lasting mark. The Axumite obelisks, towering monuments of stone, continue to stand as symbols of the empire's grandeur. These obelisks, many of which are still in Axum today, are a reminder of the advanced engineering and architectural skills of the ancient civilization. Axum's introduction of Christianity to the region also left a lasting legacy. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which traces its roots to Axum, remains a central part of Ethiopian identity. Axum's role in the spread of Christianity in Africa has had far-reaching consequences for the continent's religious and cultural development. Furthermore, Axum's contributions to trade and maritime technology influenced later civilizations. The empire's maritime practices helped shape the trade networks of the Indian Ocean, impacting the cultures and economies of India, Arabia, and beyond. Axum's story is one of remarkable achievement, power, and influence. Its control over the Red Sea trade routes, dominance in the trade of frankincense, and sophisticated naval prowess made it a global power long before European colonialism. However, much of its legacy remains underappreciated in the broader context of world history. Rediscovering the story of Axum reminds us of the rich and complex history of Africa's empires, which have often been overlooked. The legacy of Axum and its role in the global trade networks of the ancient world offer valuable lessons in the interconnectedness of human civilizations. The empire's success was not just a result of its control over maritime routes, but also its ability to connect people, cultures, and ideas across vast distances, fostering a shared legacy that still resonates today.